we're going to talk about braking. Braking is a learned skill. I can't think of anybody who's born with the natural ability to brake well. It's some people might be better than others, but it's something that's definitely learned over time. Brakes are the most important control on the motorcycle. Proper braking technique is important in improving lap times at the track. You can improve lap times at the track with successful braking, good braking technique. You go to the street, it's just a natural reaction. You know what that bike can do, you know how fast it can brake, how hard it can brake. So here's a good place to practice it. So when you go to the street, it's just natural. And braking is a technique that improves over time with a lot of practice. This is a little excerpt from Sport Rider. I think they did this test on the SV 1000 with the rear brake only 289 feet, front brake only 151 feet, and with both brakes 146 feet. So you can see the difference between front and rear is a huge difference, but when you use both, it's only a slight difference. Most of your braking occurs up front. I don't know if you've ever been on a street ride with new riders and who probably haven't taken MSF. They think they only use the rear brake, and you can just tell. And it's like they take forever to stop. Sometimes they don't stop. So on the track, how many of y'all use just the front brake? Most everybody. Very seldom do I use my rear brake. You can see from the test that there's really no reason to use the rear brake until you get tie fast or the fast expert classes. Because when they start using the brake and they don't use it really to stop, they use it for control, backing it in and stuff like that. So, if you're comfortable using the rear brake, do it, but don't lock it up. Don't lock up the rear wheel. When you brake in segments. You are not on a straightaway and just grab 100% front brake. Usually when you do that, really bad things happen. Either the front end washes out underneath you, or you go flying over the handlebars. I've experienced the washing out, and I've seen people fly over the handlebars. So the first 10% as you approach your braking point is just a slight grab of the brake, just to shift the weight from the rear to the front. When you shift that weight, it creates a bigger contact patch on the front tire. So when you grab more brake, you have a nice surface and a big contact patch so the bike can brake. If you are in a straightaway, wide open on the gas, grab a handful of brake, your contact patch is probably only that big. There's not enough contact patch to brake. The front tire is just going to slide. So the first 10% is just to settle, the chassis, bring the weight from the rear to the front. Once you feel the weight transferred to the front, then that's when you can apply braking. You can get aggressive with your braking. Our bikes, the sport bikes, are made to stop and stop fast. That's, it's compact. It's not like a chopper or a cruiser where there's a longer wheelbase. Everything is compact. So when you apply brakes, the weight transfers to that front wheel. You watch the suspension compress. Everything is compressed up front. The contact patch is big on the front tire, which allows for hard braking. You can get really aggressive with the brake. You'd be shocked. I've been out doing 160 and just a handful of brake all the way down to like 20 or 30. They will stop fast. So it's just your comfort level, your experience all comes into play on how hard you can brake. Braking, when you practice braking, like with anything with riding, very small increments. Don't go from 10% to 100%. Maybe 5% increments. That allows you to adjust for anything different that happens with the bike or with how it's braking. The last 15% is releasing the brake towards apex, which is called trail braking. Who here does not trail brake? Yeah, good.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Why not, Brian?
Okay.
Why not?
Trail braking, you know, it's something that you have to be comfortable with. You have to be comfortable with entering a corner first and getting a lot of your braking done before you hit your turn-in point, before you start trail braking. That's why in level 1, we don't want anybody trail braking. We just want them to get used to the track, used to braking, used to turning in. Once in level 2, then we start talking about trail braking. Trail braking, it's not that hard, it's not difficult, but it's a technique that has to be precise. If you're in a lean and you grab too much brake, bad things happen. A friend of mine went down Sunday during at Crescent at CMRA races. I said, "What happened?" He goes, "I was just going too hot and just tweaked the brakes just a little." Boom, man, washed out. So it's something, I don't want to say that to scare you, but as you're approaching the corner and you've hit your braking points, you're braking, getting your hard braking done, as you approach your turn-in point is when you start releasing it. There's not a lot of braking that happens under trail braking. One good thing about trail braking is it keeps the weight on the front, which makes the bike turn in better. So as you are applying brake, you start to turn in, the weight's already there, so it turns in easier. It turns in, it's more smooth as it turns in. If all your weight is up here and you go to turn in, it can kind of upset the bike a little bit. But if the weight's already there and you go to turn in, it's going to turn in a lot easier. After you pass your turn-in point, your braking, as you approach your clip point or the apex of the corner, you're just releasing it slowly as you approach it. Once you get your clip point a little bit before the clip point, there should be no pressure on the brakes. It should be released completely. So if you watch, I have some video and I'll show it later. If you watch the MotoGP guys, World Superbike guys, AMA pros, even no corner work for CMRA pros, you can watch the really fast guys. As they are approaching the corner and they hit their turn-in point, they're still braking, they're still kind of upright. But as the lean of the bike increases, the more their body comes down, the less they're braking. And I was in turn 3 watching Dustin Dominguez run on Saturday, and that's when I really paid attention to how the fast guys do it. What are they doing? And he's backing it in and stuff like that going in 3, but he's trail braking, and before he reaches the clip point where he's going to start rolling on throttle, I saw his fingers move off, get back on the throttle. Once he hit his clip point, boom, he's rolling on it and coming out. So if you watch the videos, they are approaching the corner, they're hard on the brakes, body position is over. Once they hit their turn-in point, they're releasing. And it's a slow release until you hit your clip point. Once you hit your clip point, you're at maximum lean. Your body should be all the way down, your head should be all the way down. And once you hit that clip point, boom, you're accelerating. What you want to do to reduce lap times is reduce the amount of coasting you do. You're either braking or you're on the gas. If you're coasting, you're wasting time. So that should be the end result of what you want to accomplish. If you want to race, that should be your main goal. Reduce the amount of time you coast. The corner speed, the exit speed, all that will come into, will just fall into place the less coasting you do. If you're not interested in racing, you're not really interested in going fast, it's going to help on the street, because if you're on the street and you get into a situation where you need to apply some brakes in the corner, you know how to do it. You know what the bike's going to do. You know how much you can apply. So trail braking it's very important. It's just something I've always done, and without even thinking about it. So it's if you've never done it, slow steps. Once you hit your turning point, you're turned in, then release it. And just slowly take it deeper into the corner until you're comfortable with it. But you have to be very careful. Too much brake in a lean is not good.